cat in the wall, eh? Okay, now you're talking my language.
You have a drunk Bailey's from a shoe?
All right, welcome into the View from C-Deck. And as the Direwolf and I continue this marathon of preseason podcasting exploitations, we finally arrive to game week. The game week. 1 versus 2 to start the year, at least in the coaches poll. It's more exciting, so we'll go with it. But the Texas Longhorns come into town this Saturday to visit the shoe, visit the Buckeyes, a rematch of last year's semifinal Cotton Bowl game, which lived up to all the hype you could ever think of for two programs like this. Direwolf, you will be in the stadium Saturday. Are you ready?
Oh, I'm pumped. I'm getting a little nervous. You know, I was at the last home game I was at was the last home game was Tennessee. And before that, I was on a little bit of a bad streak where we would lose games I went to. So I was nervous to go, but we all know that was by far the best game I've ever been to. Looking forward to possibly having one even better. I just wish it was at night. Bullshit.
Yeah. I was not at the Tennessee game, but the greatest atmosphere I've ever been in at the shoe was the Texas-Ohio State game in 2005. That place was rocking 2 hours before the game. It's such a damn shame this is not at night. F you, Fox. F you, Kevin Warren, for signing that contract that basically just said, Ohio State, you're going to play at noon every single – you and Michigan are going to play at noon every single week because you're the two marquee names, and it stinks because this game should be at night. Everybody should be all lathered up and ready to yell all kinds of steers and queers obscenities at the Texas team. But on paper, this is just a hell of a matchup between two teams that lost almost everything from those teams that played. These are two totally different teams than what played in that semifinal. It's Texas's last game. They're playing us back-to-back. Obviously, the big thing on both teams' mind is the new quarterbacks. Two highly regarded guys, one of the highest regarded ever in Arch Manning. A lot of that's due to his last name, though. And then our stud, Julian Sayin. We'll start with talking about Arch against our defense, though, because that's seems like we're the game. Like, he's the Heisman favorite right now, having only started 2 games in his career, through 90 passes last year. Has all the physical tools you could think of, but has never really shown it on a huge level. Even in high school, his highest yardage total was 2,700 yards in a season, so they never put it on his back to win games for them because he played with a really good team. But do you think are you scared of what Arch brings on Saturday against he lost all of his weapons too, like a top 3 receiver, top 2 receivers, top tight end, all gone. One of their best running backs gone, although they get back CJ Baxter, who didn't play last year. Well, what do you think about Arch against our new defense with Matt Patricia?
I actually think that is where we're going to have the edge because all the hype's on him. Like we mentioned in the previous podcast, all the pressure's on Texas, I feel like, because they've been losing all these big games recently. Patricia likes to mix things up. Our defense, I think, certain aspects of it could be the strength of the team. We talked about the linebackers. Caleb Downs might get a pick. If Igbenogson can keep his hands away and not get PIs, I see us really confusing him, and I think he might throw 2 picks.
I hope he does. It's going to be, like I said, everything on paper says he's a good quarterback. All the physical tools. Sarkisian talks about how great his work ethic is all the time, but he's got to show it at the highest level that he hasn't. I mean, he played 1 play against us and got knocked out in that semifinal game. Got about knocked out cold. He does have a lot of talent, though, around him. But their O-line, they suffered a big injury in the preseason here. The guy who's projected to start at right tackle was out. They're returning no starters on O-line, too. So it's going to be a unit that's a work in progress. Like I said, they lose Isaiah Bond. They lose Golden to the draft. They lose their tight end. But they do have Wingo back, who was really good as a freshman and is like a 5-star type guy. And then their other wide receiver, what was his name? DeAndre Moore back, who had 7 touchdowns and had a huge game. I mean, he had 400 yards receiving, 450, but had 9 for 114 and a touchdown against Georgia in the SEC championship game. So a lot of it came there, but against a defense that's pretty good, somebody respectable. Like I said, they returned their running back. So our new D line, though, we have an all new D line against all new O line. We held them severely in check last year. And like I said in our earlier podcast about the game with them. If Arch is that good, why wasn't he playing over Quinn Ewers? Especially against us last year. I mean, he got hurt, but they're not moving the ball against us with any sort of regularity at all. Do you think their offense can get more than 14 against us? I mean, they should have had 21. They should have just ran the ball right up the gut at the end of the game there.
I actually don't think they're going to have more than 14. That was my exact score that I think they're going to end up with.
Don't give it away yet. You got to tease it.
I didn't give up the whole thing, but you said more than 14? No.
Yeah, I mean, I think they might just because, I don't know, early on, their defenses usually have a little bit on the offenses. These games can get kind of ugly. If you watch the Iowa State-Kansas State game yesterday, I mean, the rain was a part of it, but it was real ugly until the fourth quarter. Then all of a sudden it turned into a normal Big 12 game. But going to the other side of the ball, our offense with the super studs. And also, Caleb Downs versus Arch is where I think we could definitely have the advantage. And I hope Patricia uses him that way, that your job is to shut down 60. He wants to run. He wants to pull it down and run if his first read can't get open. Now, we have to be able to stop his first read, and that's not always easy against a team with Texas's talent. But with his running backs and his running ability, you need somebody to erase him. We got the guy to do it. Now, offensively, last year in that game, they shut down Jeremiah Smith. 1 catch for 3 yards. That's our man. That's what the offense is going to start by running through him, especially with Julian Sayin. You know he's going to want to hit number 4 early. Hit number 4 and Matt Clare at tight end. But we're playing a really athletic front. Colin Simmons, best freshman in the nation last year, over Jeremiah somehow. That wasn't right. But still, the best defensive end as a freshman in the country, maybe. And Anthony Hill Jr. at linebacker is a freaking freak and a freight train running around over there. How do you think our offense matches up against that?
I mean, it's the big question mark. Everybody keeps saying how good the O-line is going to be, but that is like in the history of football, it always comes down to the O-line. It seems like if they're dominant, I think we win easy, but they're not going to be dominant right off the bat. So the key is going to be, how does Sayin react to when we miss a block or somebody gets through? Is he going to panic? Is he going to throw it away? Is he going to get blindsided and fumble? I think it's going to happen once or twice where he, it's a 50-50 chance he makes a terrible decision because of how quick they get to him. I think they're going to get through a handful of times, but I've heard one of his best traits is good decision making. So that could be the key, but it does worry me a little bit. I think they do have the edge on that side.
I mean, it'll be interesting, though, if what a lot of people are saying is a strength for us, our interior offensive line, which I've said in our preview of the offense isn't necessarily true to me, but they are totally rebuilt up the middle. And they lost a first-round pick and another stud at D tackle, and they're replacing them with 5 transfers, including Hero Canoe from Ohio State, who was only going to be a depth guy here and never really flashed. 4 tackles in 15 games last year. Not something we're going to miss. So maybe they aren't that great up the middle. I think they'll be really good, though. I think people are hyping them up on defense, rightly so. And it's Pete Kwiatkowski, who's one of the best D coordinators in the nation, against Brian Hartline, coordinating his first game, play calling his first game. Who knows? But it sounds like a big advantage for Texas. And maybe we're conservative to the point of being too conservative and don't want to check it deep or don't want to go like, we're running it on 3rd and 5 or something like that. I don't know. It'll be it's one of these games. It's hard to preview because there's so much unknown. We have 2 new coordinators and like 16 new starters. They have 18 new starters, including quarterback and like all their receivers and all their O-line. Like, it's insane.
It's one of the least predictable season openers I can ever remember because it's just all the talent in the world on both sides. We both lost so much. I mean, the last time we played was one of the best games of the entire season for any game, for any team. The Brian Hartline thing is what's got me uneasy a little bit. I don't think we're going to score many points.
Yeah, I saw something I'll bring up later about who should be ringing the bell. I know who is ringing the bell, but who should be. The big thing is what they did to shut down Jeremiah last year. Now, it helps to have an All-American and first-round draft pick and Jahdae Barron at corner, but they played zone, and they zoned up, clouded to his side, basically triple bracketing him, one on the outside, one on the inside, one deep, so that he's just never open on the first read. And Howard went away. Carnell Tate ends up with 7 catches for 87 yards. It worked though. Like, our offense was not effective against them for huge chunks of that game. I mean, really, we had one good drive early, and then the good drive to score the touchdown to go up 21-14. Other than that, the big play at the end of the first half on the screen, we got him. Like, we just got him on that one, and it helps to have Travion Henderson, which we don't have this year. Somebody who can just bust one out like that. I mean, Jeremiah can, but all eyes are going to be on Jeremiah all game like they did last year. So I think they try that strategy again. But this Max Clare then just feast and Carnell Tate to open up things for us and keep us moving.
I think Claire's going to be a first down machine in that game. I think I think we're going to go on several drives, but not necessarily get to pay dirt, because I just think the line's going to struggle a little bit in this one.
Oh yeah. So speaking of that, and speaking of who I just thought about, so obviously we have some new traditions starting this game, and they're going to be ringing the victory bell before we even play the game. Annoying as that is, Archie Griffin's going to be the one ringing the bell, which is not annoying. That's great. But who do you think might be a good choice to ring that damn bell and won't be doing anything because the NFL is not playing yet on Saturday and would get that place going wild?
I have a feeling I know who you're saying. I didn't even think about it, but Mr. Captain Jack Sawyer.
Yes.
With the walk-off.
Stupid score.
Yeah.
I mean, does that place not erupt if that happens?
Yeah, you're right. I didn't even think about that. It was they probably just felt like they had to let Archie do it.
Maybe he should come out with Archie on his shoulders and they can ring the bell together.
Yeah.
Because Archie, I mean, everybody loves Archie, but he's not going to get people fired up. Like Jack doing it, and they play the scoop and score as he's walking out. And
oh, yeah. They need to play that.
Runs on the field just streaking. Like,
they need to be playing that shit.
In the mouth.
I didn't even think about that. They should be playing that shit regardless, even if
I think they will. Yeah. Now that may actually piss Texas off, though. I don't know.
It could.
I'd be pissed. I'd be like, okay, I'm shutting these motherfuckers up. All right, the time to say we are two gambling boys here, and it's time to look at the gambling lines for this and make our predictions official. So it opened at 2.5 with an over under of 48.5. Now it's gone down a point in both ways. 1.5 point spread. Still, Texas, the only number one team ever to be an underdog in their first game. And the spread's not the total 47.5 for the over under. I'll let you go first since you're going to be in the stadium and you seem to have a very specific score in mind.
Yeah, I would hammer the under in this because we tend to just every year, if you look back, the first game of the year, we come out to a slow start. It just happened. Like, it's just, you can almost guarantee it. It's going to be sluggish. I think our defense is going to confuse the hell out of Arch, mainly Caleb Downs moving around. I do see them getting a couple touchdowns, but your boy that you shouted out, Jaden Fielding, is going to come in clutch this game, kick 3 field goals, and we're going to win 16-14.
Ooh, real low scoring. The more we talk about it, the more I'm leaning towards you. The last week I was talking to somebody I'm not going to see again before the game, and I said 29-24 Buckeyes. I think it's a little more high scoring because I think there's these new defenses against these high-powered offenses. I think they're going to give up a couple big plays. I think there's going to be some big plays in this game. I think there'll be some breakdowns. Even though both teams are really good at safety, like they're returning an All-American at safety also. But I think that both teams will be able to move the ball more than you're thinking. And I think we go ahead. Like, we're down 24-23. Sayin leaves a drive late. We go for 2, but don't get it. And then we have to sweat it out at the end. But 29-24, I think it's going to be a great game, just like you, though. Like, these are just two stacked teams, top to bottom in talent with good coaches. really highly touted quarterbacks that, while unproven, I think will prove to both be solid in this game at the very least. I think Arch will hurt us with his legs a little bit. But, I mean, maybe Patricia cures it, but we've always struggled against running quarterbacks. Like, it just happens, including that year.
Like I was saying, I think Claire, he's going to be getting a bunch of first downs. I think we're going to outgain him, and we're just going to fizzle out, getting into it's not going to be like last year where we were a great red zone team, goal line team, stuff like that. But I think we're going to drive down the field, settle for field goals because it's going to be low scoring. And then I do see them having a couple big plays, like blow up plays.
Mm-hmm.
But last year we would give that shit up and then just completely shut teams down after we gave up like one big drive.
Opening drive was always like a touchdown.
Yeah. I could see us being down 7-0, and I'm not going to be surprised. And then they don't score again until like the fourth quarter.
Yeah. And as I also think will be better than in the past. Those other slow start games were against teams that like we could afford to start slow against. And There wasn't like this urgency that I think there is this year. Like there's some urgency. You can tell that Dave wants to win this game really bad. And it's pointing us towards having one of our A efforts right off the bat. So I think they'll have some tricks up their sleeves. Both teams will, to get some points on the board. So I have the over and Ohio State covering. You have the over and Ohio State covering now that the spread moved down a point. Man, you were like right on that spread line though.
Yeah. The under is what I put my money on.
I mean, and like you said in our other podcast, only them blowing us out would probably surprise me. It wouldn't. Not much would surprise me in this game though. Like just the way things are, so much new stuff. Things can happen. I think these are two of the top 5 teams in the country. I mean, not going out on a limb there. They're just so talented and have such good coaching staffs. I think there's a really good chance we see them again in the playoffs at the end of the year. I guess one thing we didn't talk about though, Sark has that James. We talked about it in our other podcast. He's got that James Franklin thing going. He really needs to get a top 5 win under his belt against a team that's like equal to him in talent.
Yeah, he I don't know prior to last year like what his record is against those type of teams, but last year alone, he lost to us. He lost to Georgia twice. Arizona State had him on the ropes. They really should have lost that game to a team completely undermatched as far as talent goes. I just, like you said, Franklin, they get in these games and they find a way to lose instead of finding a way to win.
Yeah, be a huge game, but if the winner will definitely be in the catbird seat for the number 1 overall seed in the playoff, as long as we can beat Penn State and they can beat Georgia or whoever they're playing. I don't know their whole schedule. It'll be a great way what a better way to start off the college football season though. Like this Saturday is going to be awesome. So everybody enjoy. This has been the View from C-Deck though. I'm just Matt. That's the Dire Wolf. Like, subscribe, comment. Let us know what you think the score will be. Tell us how bad Arch Manning actually is. And we will see you guys next time.
Hey guys. Oh, big gulps, huh? All right. Well, see you later.